Now, let's just have a quick focus before we go on India, which is it's sort of, I mean, many similarities in terms of some of the issues we've talked about already, but in quite a lot of ways, a bit of a sort of law unto itself, right? Because there's a sort of different handset issue going on there,
Mm.
which makes that market just a bit more complicated.
Yeah, it's very much a more established market in India. Um, it has got a bigger and more sort of entrenched middle class who have been spending on entertainment and gadgetry and tech, for
A
more
long time.
years.
Mm.
So it's more established, and there's a lot of very, there's more than 1 billion people live in India. It's a significant proportion of the world's population. It has its own content culture that sort of is fairly sort of self-sustaining and self-sufficient. What is interesting there is that handsets aren't sort of dished out by the network operators. The consumers buy them themselves. There's many cheap handsets made in India and others imported from China. So the problem that the Indian market has is trying to make things compatible with this vast array of handsets. I mean, most of them are sort of Android based operating systems, but still the sort of form factors of the screens are different. So it's this more established market and it's still got a lot of growth in it, but it's quite a challenging market to leverage because of this huge diversity of handsets. And again, the network side of it isn't great in the rural areas, in the conurbations where there are hundreds of millions of people. It's fine. Outside of that, there isn't. So there is a lot of growth potential, but I think it comes with a different set of challenges in many ways that are more technical rather than sort of cultural. Um, but yeah, we got some people speaking about India because I think it's a very interesting market to look at because they approach things slightly differently. They like to mash up things. There's a lot of gaming and music mashups where music services have a gaming element and vice versa. And they're currently much more into that. And whether that's something that's translatable or not, I don't know. But it's an interesting sort of form factor they have with their content. I have to
Mm.
say that, and they also love fantasy sports leagues are huge.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked many times about the value of having local partners. And,
Mm,
that seems to be a constant theme and has been a constant theme for many years for anyone that operates successfully in the telemedia industry, which has been founded on the ability to trade cross-border. Therefore, again, it's sort of baked in that anybody looking to expand their services into new countries, new continents, should understand that a really deep understanding of the local culture, probably provided by a reliable local partner, is definitely the key to success. And probably, jumping on a plane and just setting up an office in Calcutta and thinking that what you've been selling in Germany, France, Spain, whatever, is going to work is going to be a big mistake.
mm,
Which, as I say, goes back to why events like World Telemedia are so important, because in order to have a partnership, you need to see the whites of somebody's eyes, you need to get to know them, and you need to,
mm,
form strong bonds, which can help you, uh, you know, provide the services successfully into those markets, and in a sustainable way, basically. And I think, that I think India highlights the point you make, highlights that
mm.
very well. Um, so just before we go, anything to talk about with regards to Asia, Southern Asia? Well, sorry, we've done Southern Asia, to the Asian markets. Any
Well,
ideas on
the
that?
Asian markets, we're going to sort of also bring in sort of what's known as Southern Asia, which are the sort of countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan that sort of border sort of India, that make up the sort of Indian subcontinent, where again there's huge opportunity. They're in some ways not as advanced as they are in India, but they're not equally not backward. And so we're going to sort of talk about some of that. There's a lot of opportunity there. Obviously, the sort of conflict that has erupted once again between India and Pakistan muddies the waters a little with that, but that's an interesting area. I think in the sort of discussions we're going to have at World Telemedia in Dubai, particularly around India, we're going to start to talk about Asian markets. We're probably going to start to talk about China. I think a lot of things, super apps like WeChat, that kind of idea that's huge in China is starting to gain traction in markets like India, and in some African markets, interestingly as well. There's quite a huge political and technological influence from China in Africa. So I think it's inevitable we're going to talk about China. I'd like to think that there'll be people there who can also help us sort of understand the wider Asian market, Vietnam, Thailand, those sort of countries. But they're sort of further away. And I think that's perhaps something for next year's event, or perhaps even another event that's more sort of located out that way.
I'm not about to